In our modern world, we seek to bring nature into our homes, cultivating life in pots and containers. We begin with what seems to be the very foundation of this life, potting soil. It arrives in brightly colored bags, promising lush growth and vibrant blooms. The texture is often light and fluffy, a dark, rich color that speaks of fertility and vitality. It feels like the perfect start, a carefully crafted medium designed to nurture our plants. We trust in this manufactured earth, believing it holds all the necessary components for a thriving indoor garden. This initial impression, however, can be profoundly misleading. Beneath this inviting exterior lies a complex and often misunderstood reality. The very qualities that make these mixes appealing on the shelf, their uniformity, their lightness, are harbingers of future struggles. We place our delicate seedlings and cherished houseplants into this medium, providing water and light, expecting them to flourish. For a time, they often do. New leaves may unfurl, and growth seems steady. But this early success can mask an impending decline, a slow-motion failure that leaves many gardeners feeling bewildered and responsible for the unexplained demise of their plants. What follows is a journey into the hidden world of commercial potting soil. We will peel back the layers of marketing and convenience to reveal the scientific truths that govern life beneath the surface. It is a story of compromised structure, fleeting nutrients, and biological voids. By understanding the secrets held within these ubiquitous bags, we can reclaim control over our container gardens, moving from a cycle of repeated failure to one of sustained, genuine growth. This is the unseen drama playing out in countless pots, and it begins with the soil itself. The initial appeal of commercial potting soil is no accident. It is a marvel of marketing engineering. When you first open the bag, the material is light, airy, and friable. It seems to be the ideal environment for delicate roots to establish themselves. This structure is often achieved using materials like peat moss and perlite, which create a high volume of airspace. For the first few weeks, a plant placed in this medium experiences ideal conditions. Water drains freely, and oxygen is plentiful, encouraging rapid root exploration and initial growth. It is a honeymoon period, a fleeting moment of perfection. But this idyllic state is tragically temporary. With each watering, a slow and devastating transformation begins. The very components that made the soil light and airy begin to break down and compact. The fine particles of peat moss and other organic fillers compress, squeezing out the vital air pockets. What was once a porous, breathable environment becomes a dense, suffocating mass. Water no longer percolates through. Instead, it saturates the collapsed material, creating an anaerobic zone where roots can no longer breathe. The plant, once thriving, is now unknowingly drowning from below, its foundation washed away. When we purchase potting soil, we expect it to be just that, soil, a living, breathing ecosystem teeming with the biological activity necessary for plant health. In reality, many commercial mixes are more akin to a temporary scaffolding than a permanent home. They're often packed with inexpensive filler materials, chosen for their bulk and low cost rather than their horticultural value. Chief among these are wood fines, shredded bark, and other forms of partially composted industrial wood waste. These materials give the bag a feeling of substance and organic richness, but these fillers come with a hidden cost. As they are not fully composted, they continue to decompose within the pot. This process of decomposition is a hungry one, requiring significant amounts of nitrogen to fuel the microbes breaking down the tough, carbon-rich wood fibers. These microbes pull available nitrogen directly from the soil, effectively stealing it from the plant's roots. The result is a slow starvation. The plant's leaves begin to yellow, starting with the oldest ones at the bottom, and overall growth grinds to a halt. The gardener is left wondering why their plant is failing, never suspecting the very soil is consuming its food. Peat moss is the cornerstone of the modern potting soil industry, often comprising the majority of what's in the bag. Harvested from ancient waterlogged bogs, it is prized for its ability to hold vast amounts of water and its sterile, consistent nature. It feels like the perfect ingredient, a natural sponge to keep roots moist. However, peat moss harbors a fundamental paradox that creates a cycle of stress for container plants. When it becomes completely dry, its fibrous structure changes, and it becomes hydrophobic. It actively repels water. This hydrophobicity is a common source of frustration. A dry pot of peat-based soil can be nearly impossible to rehydrate. Water will simply run down the sides of the pot or pool on the surface, leaving the root ball bone dry. Conversely, when it is fully saturated, peat moss collapses into a dense, sodden sludge, eliminating the air pockets roots need to respire. This creates a vicious cycle of extremes. The plant swings between drought stress, as its roots sit in dry, water-repellent peat, and suffocation, as they are submerged in a waterlogged, airless bog. Neither state is conducive to healthy long-term growth. To compensate for the lack of natural fertility in these engineered mixes, manufacturers add what they call a starter charge of nutrients. This is often advertised right on the packaging, promising to feed your plants for months on end. Now, this gives the impression of a self-sustaining system, a complete meal for your plant. But honestly, these nutrients are almost always in the form of fast-release synthetic salts, chemical compounds designed to dissolve quickly in water and give your plant an immediate jolt of nutrition. That's why you often see a burst of vigorous growth just after repotting. However, the very nature of these salts makes them fleeting, because they're so highly soluble, they're washed out of the pot with every watering. After just a few weeks, that initial nutrient charge is usually completely gone, flushed right down the drain. What you're left with is a biologically inert medium, really, with no ability to generate or retain its own fertility. The plant, having become dependent on this artificial supply, suddenly finds its food source cut off. This rapid depletion is, in a way, part of the business model, creating a dependency on bottled, liquid fertilizers to keep feeding the plant, and, well, it just keeps that cycle of purchasing going. Every plant pot comes with a simple, seemingly foolproof featured drainage holes. We're taught that these holes are essential to prevent root rot by letting excess water escape. Now, that is true, but honestly, it's only half the story. The effectiveness of a drainage hole is entirely dependent on the structure of the soil above it. It can only drain water that's free to move through the soil profile. We can think of this using the idea of a perched water table, which, happens in all containers. When the fine-textured potting soil starts to compact and its pore structure collapses, as we've seen, its ability to move water downward is severely compromised. Those tiny compressed spaces just hold on to water through capillary action, almost defying gravity. Even with a big hole at the bottom, a layer of saturated stagnant water will stay suspended in the lower part of the pot. The drainage holes are basically useless because the water can't reach them. The roots down there are stuck in an airless environment, leading to the very root rot those holes were supposed to prevent, while the upper layers of soil might seem deceptively dry. In an effort to provide a clean and predictable product, most commercial potting mixes are sterilized. This is usually done with heat or steam, a process meant to get rid of any potential pathogens, weed seeds, or insect eggs that might be lurking in the raw ingredients. On the surface, this sounds like a benefit. A sterile medium means you're not bringing diseases like damping off or fungus gnats into your home. It promises a clean slate for your plants, free from harmful organisms. But this sterilization is really a double-edged sword. The intense heat is indiscriminate. It kills everything. Along with the bad stuff, it wipes out the vast and complex community of beneficial microbes that form the foundation of a healthy soil ecosystem. These beneficial fungi and bacteria form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, helping them absorb nutrients, protecting them from disease, and improving soil structure. By starting with a sterile mix, we're putting our plants in a biological vacuum. The roots are left naked and defenseless, with no microbial allies to shield them. When a pathogen eventually finds its way into the pot, there's no established immune system to fight it off, and disease can take hold with alarming speed. The diligent gardener, wanting to provide the perfect amount of water, often turns to a tool for help, the moisture meter. This simple device, with its metal probe, promises to give an accurate reading of the moisture level deep within the pot, taking the guesswork out of watering. We trust its needle, moving from dry to moist to wet, to tell us precisely when our plants are thirsty. In a natural soil environment, these meters can be reasonably effective, as they primarily measure electrical conductivity, which, correlates with water content. However, in the artificial environment of a commercial potting mix, this technology is deeply flawed. As we've learned, these mixes are often loaded with synthetic fertilizer salts. These salts dramatically increase the electrical conductivity of the soil water, independent of the actual moisture level. The meter cannot distinguish between water and dissolved salts. As a result, it will often give a wet reading even when the soil is becoming dangerously dry. Trusting the meter, the gardener holds off on watering, inadvertently pushing the plant into drought stress. This misinformation compounds all the other problems, making correct care nearly impossible. With every watering, another invisible process is at work. Compaction. The delicate structure of peat and fine wood particles is just not resilient. The weight and force of the water, week after week, slowly compresses the soil. Now this doesn't happen uniformly. Instead, it creates horizontal layers of dense, compacted material within the pot. These layers become like invisible walls or hardpans, barriers that are nearly impenetrable to delicate new roots. The plant's root system becomes trapped in the upper layers of the pot. From the surface, the plant's struggles can be easily misdiagnosed. You might see stunted growth, yellowing leaves, or a general lack of vigor and assume it's a nutrient deficiency or maybe a lack of light. Folks might add more fertilizer or move the plant, but the problem persists because the root cause is physical, not chemical. The roots simply cannot expand to access the water and nutrients in the lower parts of the pot. They're confined to an ever-shrinking volume of usable soil, slowly starving and suffocating in their prison, even when the pot itself seems large enough. The world of potting soil is awash with marketing terms that sound impressive but, honestly, often mean very little. The industry is largely unregulated, allowing manufacturers to use evocative words without any standardized definition. Bags are emblazoned with terms like premium, professional grade, gold label, or enriched. These words are designed to create a perception of superior quality, convincing the consumer to choose one bag over another, often at a higher price. But without a governing body to define what premium actually entails, the word is, well, effectively meaningless. Similarly, the term organic on a bag of potting soil can be misleading. While it may mean the ingredients are derived from natural sources, like peat moss, forest products, or manure, it doesn't guarantee a healthy, living, or sustainable soil structure. An organic mix can still be composed of rapidly decomposing wood fines that steal nitrogen or hydrophobic peat that creates watering nightmares. The focus of the marketing is on the ingredient list and the initial appearance, not on the long-term biological function and structural stability of the medium. We're sold an idea, not a science. After uncovering these hidden failures, the path forward may seem daunting, but the solution is not to abandon container gardening. It is to reclaim control by creating a medium that mimics the resilience of natural earth. The secret lies in a simple, time-tested formula that focuses on structure, biology, and fertility. The foundation is a balanced blend of three key components: 1 part mature compost, 1 part native garden soil, and 1 part coarse material for aeration. This combination provides a stable, long-lasting structure. The compost provides a slow-release source of diverse nutrients and, most importantly, a rich inoculum of beneficial microbes. The garden soil adds mineral content and a robust structure that resists compaction. The coarse material, such as pumice, coarse sand, or small pine bark nuggets, creates large, stable air pockets that ensure oxygen can always reach the roots. To truly bring this mix to life, we can feed the microbial community. A small amount of unsulfured molasses dissolved in water provides a ready food source for the bacteria and fungi, kickstarting the living soil food web and restoring the natural systems that have been engineered out of bagged mixes. We have journeyed deep into the bag, exposing the hidden truths of the potting soil we so often take for granted. We've seen how materials chosen for shelf appeal can lead to structural collapse, how sterile environments leave roots defenseless, and how marketing can obscure the fundamental principles of soil science. The unexplained failures, the yellowing leaves, and the stunted growth are not necessarily a reflection of your abilities as a gardener, but often the predictable outcome of an inadequate foundation. The soil is not just dirt. It is a complex living ecosystem. By understanding this, you are no longer a passive consumer, but an informed creator of that ecosystem. The power to cultivate a thriving container garden has been returned to your hands. The simple act of mixing your own soil from balanced components, compost, soil, and aeration, reconnects you to the timeless processes of nature. You are not just filling a pot, you are building a home, a resilient and biologically active environment where your plants can do more than just survive. They can truly flourish for years to come. This knowledge transforms your relationship with the very ground your plants grow in. It is a shift from dependency on manufactured products to a partnership with the natural world. If this journey has helped you see soil differently, I invite you to subscribe to Nature's Blueprint. Share this with another gardener who may be struggling with unexplained failures, and together, let's help bring real, living soil knowledge back where it belongs, into the hands of those who love to grow.